Hey everyone, I'm Travis Wright, and you're listening to I'm a Fan Of, your show for music, comedy, and more. As always, if you are a musician, a comedian, or just someone that does something interesting, you can reach out to me on Instagram at TravisCanListen. You can find me on Facebook at I'm a Fan Of, or you can reach out to me through the website at I'mAFanOfPod.com. This episode, check it out. We got video. I think we're going to start doing this consistently. Little side shout out, Mr. Nick Shoulders. If you haven't checked him out, fantastic musician. He's been featured on the show before. We're trying to get him in for an interview at some point. But, however, I'm saying this because if you're a band, if you're a comic, if you're somebody out there who has merch and you want to throw me like a shirt my way, hit me up on social media. My size is extra large. I will wear it on the show. I will promote it. I am not one who's known for shopping for a lot of clothes, so I need a couple new shirts. I need stuff to keep it all in style and not wear the same thing basically for 30, 40 interviews straight. Anyway, this episode, we have a fantastic interview guest, stand-up comic from right here in DFW. He's absolutely hilarious, Mr. Scott Crisp. We will, of course, get to that in a moment. But first, as usual, we've got to check out some new music. The band I want to feature today is a band called The Pauses from Orlando, Florida, or as they say, Mickeytown, USA. They are fantastic. I believe it's a 3-piece, maybe a 4-piece, I'm not sure. But they blend a lot of different styles. The first thing that came to my mind is it was kind of like a mesh of maybe Weezer and Foster the People, kind of along that line of thinking. Really, really love it. They describe themselves as indierocktronica or beep boop rock. It's good enough for me. From the moment I heard it, I absolutely loved it. And let's not talk about it anymore. Let's go ahead and just jump into a song. The first one I want to play is from their album called Unbuilding. It was released in 2018. Let's get right into it. This song is called Eventually Everything Connects. Go ahead and take it. Again, that was The Pauses. That song was called Eventually Everything Connects. It is from their 2018 album, Unbuilding. They have a couple albums before that. They've also got some singles out there. And they even released a couple songs during the quarantine that are pretty fun and interesting. So please, all the usual spots, social media, Spotify, Bandcamp, all those places. They've got music out there. Please go listen to it. The next song I want to play for you is off the same album. I just think it's great. You hear what I mean? They call themselves beat boop rock, or what was it? Indierocktronica or something like that. Anyhow, I love it. I love the mix of that digital noise with kind of rock, music. And I don't know, it takes me back to the perfect parts that I loved about the 90s, but then there's some elements of the 2000s mixed in. And then they've got just their own vibe that they put to it, which are all really, really fun elements for great music. The next song I want to play for you is called Digital Detox. Enjoy. By The Pauses. Please go listen to their full catalog. As usual, a couple songs just really doesn't do it justice. We're going to play one more on the way out, but it is time to get to our interview guest. This is a comic I've been wanting to have on the show for a very long time. He's somebody I saw early on before I ever even thought about doing this podcast. He's so funny. Just so funny. And you'll hear me, kind of talk to him about why aren't you doing this, full time? Why aren't you getting on the road? So if you were a comic out there in another area outside of the DFW market and you're looking for people to bring to your area, please listen to this interview. Check out Scott Crisp. He's a nice guy. Everybody on all accounts says he's great to work with. I'll vouch for him. I think he's fucking hilarious, and you're going to see it in this interview. One of the things we talk about in the interview that I absolutely love about comedy is when a comic makes you laugh at yourself, when you don't realize that you do something stupid until they have a great bit about it or something, and you realize, oh my God, that's so silly. I can't believe I did that. And for him, he's got this great bit about those reef sandals that used to have the beer opener in them. And I love flip-flops. I love flip-flops. I live in Texas right now. It's like 110 outside. That's what I wear nonstop. And I remember ever since those came out, not only did I like the reef flip-flops because they were comfortable, but I was totally sold on the marketing of that stupid fucking beer bottle opener. And the moment I heard him tell a joke that started ripping on people for wearing those, I was slayed. I was like, this guy, he gets it. Because I mean, that's what great comedy is. You can, even if it's about you, it's good enough that you can laugh about it and you don't get offended by it. And, he's got plenty of other bits, plenty of other things, but I will always associate those flip-flops, me wearing them, with Scott Crisp. I'm going to the beach here in a week. I'm probably going to have flip-flops just like that on, and it's going to give me a giggle every single time I wear them. I think that's what great comedy is. Scott does not have anything recorded that we can pull a clip from at this point. You'll hear me talk to him in the interview. We're going to change that. I'm going to try to set him up with some quality recordings so you guys can hear a clip at some point. But for now, you're going to have to go check him out at a live show. I highly encourage it. He is fantastic. Please, please, please go see what he's doing. And but for now, we're just going to go right into the interview. This is Scott Crisp. Enjoy. Nothing off limits, huh?
Yeah, no.
All right, cool.
An open book.
Well, dude, Scott Crisp, welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You have forever ruined flip-flops for me.
Oh,
Just from that one joke, man.
The beer opening flip-flops.
The beer opening flip-flops. That was I'm the guy who bought those flip-flops.
Yeah.
All the time. Did you actually wear them, or was that?
No, it was like, the bit was all about me, like how much I wanted them.
Yeah.
Like I was too young. Like I don't think I was drinking beer yet, but I like saw them and I was like, that is the symbol of a lifestyle I hope to attain someday.
That was the first bit I ever saw you do. It was down at the previous Dallas Comedy Club. Before it was Dallas Comedy House.
Yeah.
Not the new one, but the one just before that one.
Right. The last iteration of Dallas Comedy House.
The one that's now
before its club.
Yeah, now it's Terry Black's Barbecue, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I was dying so hard because everything you said, I was like, that's me. That's me. I'm the idiot who buys these flip-flops thinking there's going to be like a party and I'm going to save the day cracking beers with my sandal.
Yeah, you immediately think like that will come in handy so much.
Yeah, and I love wearing flip-flops so much, and especially like today, it's 110 degrees. It's like, are you really going to put on shoes? And I get a lot of flip-flop hate from people.
Yeah, I think that it's with people, like showing feet, I think is just a very polarizing thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are either going to love it too much or they're going to just be disgusted.
You never thought about buying the beer opening flip-flops now that you've had the bit?
I grew out of now I don't drink either.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't
Sober?
have any. Yeah. Yep.
I stopped drinking like I guess like 3 months ago, but it's not for any like sober reasons. I just have like horrible reflux and I'm trying to lose weight. And so in the meantime, it's like no beer, no caffeine, no nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you sober up for any real reason?
I was just I just drank all the time. So I realized it was one of those that I was like in my mid-20s, I was like, I knew I was going to have to stop at some point, but I wasn't ready to.
What made you decide to quit?
Actually, a hospital visit. I went on the story goes, I went on a long bender. It was like probably a week. Like I was just like getting hammered every day.
What's a bender for you? Like, what are you drinking and how much of it?
At that time, I think I was drinking a lot of Old Crow whiskey.
Old Crow whiskey.
And then if I would wake up and I would be like so sick that I couldn't imagine like taking a swig of whiskey, then I'd get some kind of wine or something like that. Keep the shakes down, you know?
Oh, wow. So you're actually like having legit withdrawals.
Oh, yeah. Big time. So then I went on my bender, and then when I stopped, I was like, I had felt a way that I had never felt before, and my my vision was going in and out. I felt so. I went to the hospital, and they were like, "You're severely dehydrated," and all that. I remember vaguely like making jokes with all the hospital staff, and them not giving me
they're like,
anything.
This is serious.
Yeah, they're all like stonewalling me.
Yeah.
With that. I remember thinking like, "Ooh, this is a tough."
How old were you when this happened again?
I was like 28.
28, okay. Yeah. So 28, it's that awkward age where it's like, the party shouldn't be continuing, but it is. Yeah.
And you have some friends that are still partying like they were when you were like hanging out, and some friends that have families and real jobs and stuff.
Were you doing comedy yet?
I was. Yeah. I'm really glad I was, actually, because I don't know how I would have left the house. Like, because I'm a homebody anyway. Even when I was a drinker, I mostly like to just be home and watch a movie and get hammered, you know. But so I was already doing it, and then I ended up taking a little bit of time off after that. And I had one show booked. It was actually at the old Dallas Comedy House right before they moved to the one that's Terry Black's now. It was the one over here on Commerce.
Yeah.
And I had already booked that show, so I had that on the books. And other than that, like, I don't know how. I kind of went to that show and it was fine, and I didn't drink and everything like that, and kind of showed me like, it's all right, you can go out again, you know.
So how did you end up getting from I've got to drink this, it's no problem? Like you said, it was a hospital visit, but what made you actually go to the hospital that day?
It was just the overall feeling that like something's wrong.
Yeah.
I think it was the vision that mostly freaked me out.
Like it was just getting
blurry.
But then
like. Yeah, it was like getting blurry and going in and out. And then also the thing I think that really helped was like this one doctor was, you know how it, like, I don't know if you've ever been in the hospital, like gone through the ER, but you're like talking to nurses the whole time.
Yeah.
And they were all, I remember, very like friendly and sweet. And then the doctor came in, and the doctor was this very stern, like she'd probably had a long night and everything.
Yeah.
She came
and you're
in
here cracking jokes in
I'm
her
in here
ER.
cracking jokes, like hooked up to, they call it a banana bag, because I was like so dehydrated.
Yeah.
And I remember she came in and she was like, I see people like you all the time. Like, you have to. She said, you have to stop drinking, or I'm going to see you 2 more times. I'm going to see you once to diagnose you with cirrhosis, and then the next time, like, you're going to die.
Damn, she was like not pulling any
punches.
punches.
I was like, to hear that from a doctor, man, when they say like very matter of factly, like no emotion behind it, like you're going to die, like for sure.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, like I imagine her looking at a clipboard and drinking some coffee, like she's not even looking at you.
I think she was looking at a clipboard.
She's just like,
I think she was looking at a clipboard.
See you 2 more times.
I remember she said, I had the liver of a much older man.
At 28 years old.
Like,
that's a terrible thing to hear.
Yeah, it was a big
but you were
wake-up call.
That's legit alcoholism at that point if you're getting shakes and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So how did you have to wean yourself off? Did you go cold turkey?
I did. Once that happened, like I was like, and it was, it's like it was like the weight of it's like you're putting off a problem, you know, like you're like family and friends are worried about you and stuff like that, but it's like you still want to drink a little more.
Yeah.
And then once I had the hospital visit, it was like,
jeez,
it was like, this is too much.
I love Johnny Walker Black. That's what I like. Yeah, on the rocks. And just with the reflux now, it's like that's strong enough to give me problems. And just that makes me sad. Like I'm not even really addicted to it. So I can't imagine being addicted.
Yeah, I think it helps too that I came up with a circle of friends that we partied really hard and drank really hard together. So like there was also a feeling of like I got it in, you know.
Were you still around them at 28?
Yeah, off and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody had kind of gone their different ways, but I still see them pretty regularly.
But was the party still lingering with them also, or were you kind of hanging out there on your island?
I was kind of on an island. Yeah. Like even if we would drink together, like I was in a different place.
Yeah.
I feel like this got really heavy right off the bat.
No. Dick joke. No. Yeah. No, I mean it's fascinating because when I see you, it's weird too because there's no stereotype of like an alcoholic, right?
Yeah. It's everyone.
Yeah.
It's like literally everyone.
Yeah, and it's always fun to hear people. That clearly was a struggle, right?
Yeah.
And coming into your late 20s, it's like those are such defining years for people.
Yeah.
And everybody handles them differently. And it's like no matter who you are, it's like when you hit 35, you look back and you're like, what a dumbass. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How did I not die?
And
a lot of times.
When I hit like 45, I'm going to look back at myself now and go, what an idiot, you know?
Yep.
But in the moment, it all feels like this is exactly what I should be doing. Yeah. Why am I not just drinking whiskey all day?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dude, you talked on getting a little lighter. You talked about getting drunk and just watching movies all day. I feel like you love movies.
I do.
The stuff I read on your Instagram is so obscure and it cracks me up so much.
Yeah, movies and TV shows. I like a lot of people are like I don't watch TV, and so
it's weird.
It's very weird. Like we live in a really good time for TV. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff. Going on.
No matter what you like, you can find it.
Yes,
it's
and
out there.
I'll say also the alcoholism. Obviously, I'd never advocate that, but I will say I did get to watch a lot of my favorite shows for the first time twice. So like. I used to do a joke about it, actually, like sitting down to watch Mad Men. And back in the day, I would like drink with Mad Men with like whiskey neat, you know?
Partying with your buddies,
so
right?
I'd be like, so I'd put on Mad Men and be like, oh, they work in the advertising industry.
Yeah.
Like I'm figuring out all this new stuff I never noticed before.
Oh my God. Yeah. And they make it look so cool. It's like, of course I'm going to have a few whiskeys and then I'm going to accomplish everything I want in my life. Yeah. And then you get towards the end seasons and you're like, oh.
Yeah, they even show that and you're still like, yeah, but he was really cool 2 seasons ago, though.
Yeah. Well, and that's when you dip into the like, that won't happen to me, though. Yeah. They didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, they were in the 60s. They didn't have...
Yeah. It is. I wonder a lot about what we're doing right now that's going to look as silly as the stuff they did in the 60s on that TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Who
even knows?
Because if you would have talked to them about that volume of cigarettes, they'd be like, what are you, a fucking dork? Like, of course we all smoke.
Yeah.
And so it makes me wonder, like, what are we doing right now?
Vaping? Is vaping going to be like, are we going to go back to smoking and be like, this was ridiculous?
It seems so. It seems like they're like, just smoke a cigarette. Don't do this horrible vape stuff right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really excited about where the future could go for those types of things. Like I was talking to a friend of mine. His dad is, I guess, like in his 70s now. So when he's going to doctor's visits and stuff, they're asking questions. And he's like, what the hell do you need to know that for? You know, and it's just really simple stuff like, have you ever smoked, drank, all that? And he's like, why is that in your fucking business?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's just what the doctor needs. And it's like, by the time we're in our 70s, there's going to be new weird questions where it's like, we found a direct link between the circumference of your penis and cancer. So if you could just tell us the measurement of that, we can definitely cure you. And we're just like, why on earth would you need to know that? And then it's just weird. I'm looking forward to the future to see how confused I'm going to be, but also what else I understand.
What medical breakthroughs will make us look like idiots?
Basically. Where did the love for TV shows and movies come from? Always since a kid?
Just we as a family, I think I was the youngest of 3 brothers, but we had our shows that we were really into, like even when I was a kid. And being the youngest, like I got to see like good TV because they were like, we're only going to watch so much kids stuff, for the straggler back here. So I was like, they would be like, you all right to watch this and stuff? And I'd be like, yeah. Usually I
what
pretty
kind of
much
shows?
was ER. The Practice. NYPD Blue was a big one.
How much younger
NYPD
than your brothers were you?
We're all 3 years apart, so 6 years younger than my oldest, 3 years younger than my middle.
Dang, watching ER?
Watching ER. I just rewatched it too. Actually, it's really good.
Really?
It has a lot of good seasons. They made so many.
Well, I was going to say, isn't it
like
20 seasons?
It's a lot.
Yeah,
they go along because it's like I think it starts in like 1994, and then it goes up to 2004 probably.
Does it still hold up? I guess the medical field hasn't changed that much since the 90s, right?
It holds up. Yeah, I think it holds up mostly. Yeah. There are some episodes that are like they date themselves real bad, but
you know what's fun to do on the older shows before they had people, now a lot of shows will have like not a fact checker, but like like an ER, they'll have somebody who's, a doctor or whatever to say like, yes, this is what we would actually say.
This is realistic. Yeah, this isn't realistic.
And so what's great is you'll see them looking at something that's clearly like a chest x-ray, and it's like hung upside down or something. And they're like, he broke his neck in 5 places.
I love stuff like that. Yeah.
And so like the older it goes back, the more you see those where the actor's like, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
And there are all these parts of that show particularly that I remember. I have childhood memories of this, so it's like really vague. But I remembered like a scene with it was the guy that was in Anthony Edwards. That's his name. He was in Revenge of the Nerds, and he was like him and Clooney were like the main doctors at the beginning. And I remembered that he died in the show, and it was very sad. And I had this image in my head of like him on a rooftop, and it was snowing, and I didn't remember anything else. I just remembered it was really sad. He was dying. He was up on that rooftop, and sure enough, like you watch it again, and it's like it's exactly as heavy as it was as a child. Like
Jesus, that's really. How old were you when you were watching this? This sounds like you were like 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, I was probably 12 that season when Dr. Mark Green was dying.
Man. I think they have an episode. There's some sort of hospital show that sticks with me where somebody's brain was swelling. There was like a massive car accident. They're on the side of the road. Something's going on. They can't get into the hospital.
Oh yeah, they always have to go. They always have to be put in precarious position.
Yeah, and like the brain's swelling. I can't remember how they know. And they're like, we have to relieve pressure. And what you normally do is you go into a surgery suite and you like drill these little holes in the head. And instead, there's a guy who was in the accident as like a handyman or something. He's like, I've got a drill. And they're like, it'll have to work. And they're on the side of the road drilling holes into someone's head. And magically it works. And they save him. And
he has a bunch of grease in his head now.
Yeah,
in his brain.
Right. Well, they used grease to just cover the holes back up once it drained all the blood,
Yeah.
But I love they take it right up to where, well, that wouldn't happen. And then they pull it back like, just
there was one where a lady saves a kid, but like all this is taking place on like a school bus that's literally teetering on the edge of a cliff. And like she's like, I'm not gonna leave my patient, and the cops are like, the bus is gonna go. She's like, I don't care. It's principles.
She's like doing chest compressions, which is making the bus go over more.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I might have to watch ER now. I didn't realize it was so like serious but silly.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
What's your favorite show of all time then? The one you always go back to watching.
Mad Men is up there. The Wire. I'm rewatching The Wire now.
I've never watched
season 5. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've heard it's incredible.
It's like the third time I think I've watched it all the way through, but it holds up. It dates itself really bad too.
Yeah,
because there's like a season where they're like, burner phones. What are burner phones? It's like everyone knows what school children know what a burner phone
that you
is
use
now.
when you. It's like,
but they're like, these kids are throwing their phones away, right? What's going on here? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sopranos. Oh, Sopranos.
That's one I still have never watched.
It is.
I take so much shit for not watching that yet.
I believe it.
I get worried that it's built up so much now that I'm gonna put too much pressure on it.
I really don't think there's any going wrong. I don't think it can be built up enough for you not to love it. It's that good.
All right.
It's because it's like it's so good on like a good drama level, but it's also so funny. Like the characters are just the best, and they're like the shirt I was wearing before I changed to come up here was actually a picture of Paulie Walnuts holding his there's a scene where, because they all work in waste management, and there's a scene where it shows a plaque of Paulie Walnuts on the wall, and it's like Recycler of the Year 2005 or something like that. And you're like, it's the most random, like they made that just for that joke, like just for you to see it, on the wall. And it cracks me up. Like, I don't think it can be built up too much. I thought that about Game of Thrones, actually, and I finally just watched it like earlier.
You watched it all the way through?
I watched it all the way through, and it was. I don't know if I would have watched it on my brother started it, and then I got into it. But
what'd you think of that last season?
That's what everyone wants to know.
Yeah,
when I tell them I just watched it.
Yeah,
I mostly liked it, but it seemed to me like. It almost seemed like they had everything wrapped up like a couple episodes before they actually ended. Yeah, like it seemed like everything was done. Like it almost should have ended with the battle, the big battle at the wall or whatever. Yeah, where I mean it's so awesome. Where Arya, I don't even want to spoil it because I know there's idiots like me out there that haven't watched it yet. But when Arya does her deed and where she comes flying at that dude, oh. So good. Also, the funniest, I think one of the funniest scenes I've seen on TV recently is as much as I loved Jon Snow and Ygritte's romance, when she gets killed and the little kid like looks and gives him a thumbs up. They have this emotional moment like, oh, we're fighting a war, but I still love you. I love you too. We'll always have the cave. And then she gets hit with an arrow and this little kid pokes his head out and is like, yeah, got her. Hilarious.
Now I know Game of Thrones was a comedy.
It was.
Dude, I got suckered into watching a show that was terrible, but I was hooked in it, and she was in it. It's called The Wife of a Time Traveler or something like that.
Oh, The Time
Traveler's Wife.
I've heard of that.
I mean, it's okay, but it's definitely
it's a show?
Yeah, I think it was originally a book, and she played. They did a Netflix series or something with it, and she's the main character in it. And just the whole time you're watching it, it's supposed to be like one of the dirty 50-cent novels that women pick up from the store.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of cheesiness. But then they put just enough time travel in there where you're like, okay, all right, I'm back in. But it was one of those about 3 episodes in where we were like, that's her. That's what she's from. And then it was like, okay, I can watch it again now.
I had a thing. I realized I had watched. I didn't realize the whole way, and I had seen The Wire 2 times through, and then I was watching Game of Thrones. Never made the connection that there's a main character in the Wire seasons 4 and 5, and he's the mayor, and it's Littlefinger, and he's the exact same guy. He just doesn't have the goatee.
Yeah.
But when I made the realization, I was like, how did I not notice? He's the same person. He just has He just has the Baltimore accent.
Well, it's crazy how good a guy like that is at getting you to hate him.
Yeah.
Like you fucking hate that guy. And it's like you wonder, like in real life, there's crazy people who can't disconnect you from that character. Like, how often are people coming up and just being like, "Fuck you, man"?
Yes, I think of that all the time. I remember seeing Radio as a little kid and being like, telling my brother like, I want to beat the shit out of the mean kid from this movie, even knowing that he's just an actor.
Yeah.
I don't care.
He's probably doing charity work in real life.
He was so mean to Radio, tricking him into going into the ladies' locker room. Dude. Foul.
Dude, you love all the movies that I love.
Good. Yeah. I will say, I have some glaring holes in my pop culture knowledge, but I know like the stuff that I love. Like I really into it.
I mean, just like right now, all the movies that are being made are fine, but we're in this real big dip of new movies are having a hard time because there's no box office sales anymore, and it's hard to everything's
so
changing.
Much of it is like giant like properties that like you have to have seen like 15 movies before. That's what I'm bad at. I'm bad at like if a movie gets out ahead of me and there are like 2 or 3 of them before I've watched the first one, then suddenly that's too hard. That's an undertaking. All of a sudden.
Like you want to know the entire Marvel universe, but it's come on. How am I going to do that?
I've always said I'm going to watch the Star Wars, but I never have.
We bought the box set of the originals, and I was like, I'm going to watch them, in order the way they were released, and we're going to do this. And I just can't. I always fall asleep.
I could see that.
They're just.
There's something about space, and it's like older. So yeah.
Well, and I think I used to put Neil deGrasse Tyson's Cosmos, the remake that he did.
That was a great
incredible
show.
Yeah, and so like I watched it the first time and was fully interested, and then it was all right, we're going to sleep. Let's put an episode on. So I think anytime I watch something space related now, as much as I love it, I just start drifting.
I super identify with that.
Yeah, but I want to get through it.
It makes me. I'm so interested by it, but it also makes me sleepy because it's like. I always think of it as like riding a bull. Like you're on it. Like I can stay on it for like the first like 3 minutes, and then pretty soon I realize like, oh, they're way over my head now.
Yeah. Do you think movie theaters will go away?
Ooh, I don't know.
I get worried about. We pretty much go to Alamo Drafthouse now.
I think maybe that's what it's going to be, more towards that model where there's like a restaurant and like they are where they can kind of hedge.
We have a 2-year-old now, but we used to go before we had him. We would go to the movies probably, minimum once every 2 weeks, if not once a week.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to be anything special. It was just going to like AMC, Cinemark, whatever. And that was such a big part of growing up, was going to the movie theaters.
Yeah.
And like
for me too. Yeah, you would get dropped off at. Yeah, it was Cinemark 17 for me.
Yeah, I lived out near Rockwall, and they had the movies 8. They had 8 screens. It was a big place.
Nice. Yeah, I went to. I remember an 8-screen place off of Northwest Highway that I went to sometimes in college.
Dude, and I mean.
But that Cinemark was like 17, you'd get dropped off and see a movie, play some air hockey, get a slice from Mama Ruggiero.
Where was the Cinemark 17 at?
Webb Chapel and 635.
Oh, so here in Dallas. Okay, yeah. Oh, well, that movie theater's still there, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
It's weird how those movie theaters, like I remember there's one in Garland that was called like Hollywood USA. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
And when it opened, it was like the shit. It was like, this is going to revolutionize movie theaters, right? And we were so psyched because we were just kids. We were psyched. There was like a trash can that would like, when you put your trash up to it, it would open up on its own and then it would pretend that it was eating it. It was like, thank you. Like, and it was so
Sounds
stupid.
amazing.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, you're like, the movies are incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a place of magic.
yeah, and they had the arcade games, but we never had any. We couldn't play. We were poor.
Yeah.
And do you remember though? Like, you had to get a fucking newspaper to check movie times. There was no.
Yes.
There was no like. Let me just look it up on my phone real quick.
And then there was Movie Phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember looking in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Suddenly makes you sound so old.
Dude,
looking in
so
the
old.
newspaper for movie times.
So old. And we grew up in a really small town, so I would like ride a dirt bike to the only gas station in town and get a newspaper for movies. And then you would like fight with your family.
That's a really good small town memory.
Dude, it
sounds like a Bruce Springsteen song.
Yeah, right. I wish it was like beautiful countryside with like horses and stuff, but I always say we were more of like the meth small town.
Where was it?
Do you know where like Nevada and Copeville and Farmersville? No, exactly. Yeah,
for 3.
Yeah. So
there's so many places in Texas.
If you take Highway 78, do you know where that is?
Yes,
if you take that north, like you're heading out to Wiley, you just keep going past all that, and then it's before you get to 380, if you know where that is.
All right.
Anyway, now that we're talking geography, but
yeah.
But no, it's one of the. Now it's not so small. Like they're putting these massive developments out there, and it's like I'll run into people that moved from Dallas out to that area, and I'm like, I did the opposite. I wanted to escape that, and now you hear they're paying like $300,000-$400,000 for a home in this town that I had to get away from.
Yeah,
it's like I can't believe you want to live
so
there.
Goddamn expensive.
It's so strange. Yeah.
And everything is getting built up. Like everything gets developed.
Yeah.
I remember driving back for the first time after the pandemic, driving back from Hyenas in Fort Worth. Mm-hmm. And that's just 30 all the way back to Dallas. And just like the amount of stuff they had added in that, like, I don't know, 8 months to a year that I hadn't made that drive. It was incredible. Like,
yeah, it makes me really excited for comedy in the DFW area that all these people are moving here, and
yeah, and we have clubs,
so many clubs, and it's something I've just kind of really learned that over the last year of how lucky we are. I don't perform; I'm just someone who watches it. And so, growing up around here, I thought like all these major cities have clubs like this.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting more out of towners on the podcast who are like, you guys have a lot of shit here.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy. Which brings me to the question of your comedy career, which is you seem, first of all, I never know when you're performing. You're so, like you said, you're such a hermit.
I need to get a
homebody.
website.
You don't even post it on social media.
I need a link tree.
Every show,
I sometimes do.
Every show I've ever watched you at, I've just been happily there. Like I've been there for someone else, and I'm like, hey, Scott's on this, and I'll nudge my wife or whoever I'm with. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be funny. This is a good one.
I'm trying to maintain an air of mystery.
You do it well. You do it so well.
No, it's mostly laziness, I guess.
Yeah,
but
how long have you been doing comedy at this point?
10 years.
10 years. And I've watched you enough. Do you still keep? You don't have to say what it is, but do you still keep a daytime job right now?
Yeah.
But you should. Sure. It seems like you don't have to. It seems like you were funny enough to make comedy your career if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's just finding the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's I need to go out more for one thing, because I mean that's half of
go out
how
like
you get shows,
to
like
shows
to
around
open
here.
mics,
Okay,
just to be around, because you'll get a bunch of shows just from being around, and people that are putting on shows are like, hey, you want to do this thing, So part of it's me not being out, but no, I appreciate it. I hope to be working that way. But I don't have the money for it.
Do you think it's just the go-getter attitude that you're lacking right now? Like it's easier to just watch the movie at home.
I think so. Yeah. Well, and I spend my time, like I write a lot and stuff like that, and then I don't know, I'm trying to get over it really bad. I know it's because it's a hindrance to being a comedian, but I'm bad at self-promotion. Like it just feels gross to me all the time. Like
I had the same issue with like I wanted to make some T-shirts for this show, but more is like I just wanted to start making little gift bags for guests of like, thanks for coming on. Not necessarily stuff I want to sell or anything.
Does this mean I'm not getting a gift bag?
I don't have anything yet, yeah. But it's so hard to design anything that doesn't look like a disgusting billboard for yourself.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I totally get not wanting to promote like, you just feel like you're spamming people constantly, and you know,
it's something I'm working to get over, because I know it's just part of it, you know. It's definitely just part of it. So you just, at a point, you have to suck it up and just do what you have to do. Like, I was talking to a headliner I worked with recently, and he was saying the way he views it, like when he's doing a spot and it's like whatever he's paid, he's like, that's like my base pay. And then whatever I can add to that, that's why I bring T-shirts and stuff. But look at it like that's the base, and then you're trying to work off of that rather than just, you know. I'm like, I like that idea. I like money.
Yeah.
It's like once you're designing the shirt and just putting your face like giant across a shirt.
Well, and it all just takes so much money too. It's like you can go to these websites that have designers that you can play around with online for free, but it all kind of looks like shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, great. Now I have to hire someone to create a design for me, a T-shirt. And then you're trying to get your idea into their head, and it never works the same. And it's, I try to think all the time of like, what's useful merch? You know, that's not a T-shirt, not a koozie. What's something people would actually use? Because like, I just don't want to create garbage either. You know, like I don't want to create something that I know is going into the landfill or into the ocean.
I had a friend that handed out, he put lighters. I was like, that's a pretty good idea. Everybody needs a lighter.
Yeah. I could do a lighter.
But outside of that, I don't know. I don't know what would be useful.
You feel like I'm just creating trash. It's just something's going to be floating in the ocean with my name on it. You know,
just gonna write my name on like coolers. Everyone needs a cooler.
Yeah.
That's like a big
like
giveaway in
coolers.
ballparks and stuff.
Oh, by the way,
Texas Rangers just crossed out with my name.
Dude, you're huge into sports.
I am,
which
I love
seems
sports.
So weird. I don't know why.
I get that.
It shouldn't seem weird, but you just don't seem like the guy who's like, I fucking love sports.
Yeah.
And that's like most of the shit you post about is baseball, basketball.
Yeah, it started. Yeah, well, I grew my hair out. Now I look like a kid in high school who's like, fuck football.
How long have you been growing your hair out, by the way?
I've had it this long for like several years now. I don't really even remember.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been really shortish since like 2013, 14.
Okay. Yeah, so you've been committed for a while.
Yeah. I like that we can say like back in 13.
Back in
13. Sound like a...
Dude, but it is.
Yeah. It's back.
Yeah.
It's back.
I just started growing my hair back out again. This is the first time we've met, and I go through these phases of growing it out or like buzzing it down to like a number one completely.
I did that. Yeah, I did that like all through college, pretty much.
Yeah. It's I've thought about taking it just crazy long, and I'm trying to talk my wife into it, but I don't know if I can get her on board.
I like having long hair, but it is way less comfortable in the summer.
Yeah.
You have it down, you feel like you're under a gross blanket.
Back to sports though.
Oh yeah.
Where did this obsession with sports come from? Did you play
when you were younger?
Sports
family. Yeah, I was a big sports family, and I played baseball through college. I played at University of Dallas. Irving.
Okay.
I was a starting pitcher, ERA leader 2007.
There you go.
First University of Dallas pitcher to beat Southwestern, and where is that at? I don't know.
Southwestern?
Southwestern.
I don't know. I don't know anything about.
It's outside Austin.
I grew up in a small town, so I played sports. I played basketball. Like you play everything when you're in a small town, but I never loved watching sports. Like I didn't hate it, but I just never got into it. The only time I really got into it was that first Rangers World Series run.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
It ended in heartbreak.
It was incredible though. And that was the first time I felt like, oh, this is why you get so excited, because if it does get to this, it was so infectious.
Yeah.
And we dropped like me and a couple friends that season. Who were they? Who did they end up losing to? Was it
the Giants
St. Louis
the first time, St. Louis the second time?
Okay, we went the second time then, because we went to one of the St. Louis games that they won here at home, I think.
Yeah.
And like I'd never been to we'd been to tons of Rangers games.
And the ballpark was so fun when it was like
so
full and had reason to be excited.
We paid $500 to sit at the very top, out by like the foul pole.
Yeah.
Like off to the side. And it was still the most incredible live sporting event I've ever been to.
I believe it.
They passed out the towels and all that stuff. And it's like, before the cameras come on, whoever's announcing is like, we're about to go live. And everybody's like freaking out, spinning towels. And you're just like, I've never been into like a baseball diamond that was packed like that. That was the only time I've ever seen it. And it was just, man, you felt this crazy energy. And it didn't matter that you were a mile away from everything that was happening. It was definitely the coolest sporting event I've ever been to.
It's I love it. I've become more, I think I watch less baseball now than I did growing up. But that partially is because the Rangers haven't been good.
Yeah.
But I've gotten really into basketball as an adult, helped by the Mavericks. I mean, that 2011, like I was broken by 2006 and like swore off the NBA. I was like, I'm never watching again after that farce, that charade that they pulled in Miami. Yeah. But so I was like, I'm done. And then of course the 20, like I was so just like out of hope. Like I couldn't even bring myself. I was expecting them to lose like that whole run. Mm-hmm. Like I just couldn't have hope again the way I had in 2006.
And then they just kept squeaking it out.
And Dirk, I mean it's truly a beautiful story. Like the way I don't know if you ever read in 2006 after they lost, he took it really, really hard.
Yeah, I do.
And he went
that.
out to the Australian outback and like camped by himself and like went on this like vision quest type thing.
No shit.
And then came back and started working again. So for him to come back and beat Miami, like,
dude, he's
beautiful.
He's just the fucking man. First of all,
he's the coolest dude in the world.
Yeah,
I love Dirk so much.
Yeah, I feel like he's the only guy who can go up to Mark Cuban and tell him what they're doing. And Mark's like, of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I read a book about that season, the 2010-2011 season, and it talked about one of the, like a turning point of the season was Dirk was having a bad game and Mark Cuban was screaming at him on the sidelines, and he went to throw the ball back in, and without even lifting his head, Dirk just yelled at Mark Cuban, "Shut the fuck up!" I said they stormed back and won that game, and it was like a turning point, but it was all from Dirk telling his boss to shut the fuck up.
And Cuban's probably walking away like, "You're right. All
right, fair point." Oh yeah, he probably loved it. I'm sure he loves that story. He loves that kind of thing.
That run you're talking about for the Mavs when they finally did win, that was the second greatest sports stuff I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
And it was just from bars, right? Just being at a bar and just high-fiving strangers. And it's like, that's the closest thing to that ballpark feeling that I ever had as well. It was incredible, though.
It was.
And I played basketball in high school, so I knew enough about that sport to really get excited about it. And you're just watching these guys who shouldn't be winning games pulling it off somehow.
Yeah.
When they broke that team up, I was so...
Yeah, they just broke them up. They're like, we're not even going to see if these guys can do it again.
Yeah, and you're just like, you had this incredible mix-up of all these guys that it's just working so well. You beat the odds. It's like, just keep it together.
Yeah, it's kind of wrong to let Tyson Chandler go after what he did for us, but that's all right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Cuban knows what he's doing.
Yeah. I can't. I mean, after the championship, it's like, I wish you wouldn't have done that, but there's the championship. So
have you ever got to being such a big Mavs fan, Dirk fan? I know he goes to comedy shows around here.
I never have.
You've never seen him at a show?
And I know like so many people I know have met him. And I know Paul Varghese has they've talked.
Apparently he was like a fan of Paul's.
He like knows of him. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And but no, I've never run into him, which is it's a shame. My cousin has met him before. He met him like at the Dallas Symphony before, and I was like,
that's weird.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, that's so cool.
He's like, I mean, he's the unofficial mayor of Dallas. I feel like no one doesn't like Dirk.
Have you ever seen a person that's 7 foot tall in person, like next to them? Have you not like?
I don't.
They're
think
playing
so.
on a court or anything.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I've ever been next to a 7-footer.
So I've been near. I'm trying to think who was that tall. I guess the tallest person I've probably ever been around was Jason Witten, and it wasn't like we were hanging out or anything. He was just in a place where I was, and he's just so, he's just so big.
Yeah,
that you realize
football players they're just bigger. It's incredible. Like I used to write for NBCDFW.com, and I was kind of their Cowboys guy. So sometimes they'd send me into the locker room, and it's just like, it's an experience.
Yeah.
These people, like the quarterbacks are huge. Like I remember Stephen McGee, we took out of Texas A&M to come and back up Romo, and I remember standing next to him, and he's like you would never know from TV. This dude's like 6'3" and like jacked.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, I feel like it would be so hard to ever relate to anyone like that because it's like your whole, like, even just the way you view life from a few feet above my head is just so different.
Absolutely.
It's like, because what is Dirk, 7'1"?
I think so.
So that means every door frame he goes in, he has to consider ducking.
Yes.
Like a door frame is 7 foot. He might, like, I would just want to know.
I can't imagine planes when you're that big.
No. And like, how many times has he just smacked his head on shit?
Oh, so much.
You know, like, it's amazing you can speak right now. You've probably been knocked out a few times just from door frames.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, I would imagine so.
But I would love to spend a day, not even talking about basketball. It's like, I just want to walk behind you and see how your normal, like,
best is
how do you purchase a car?
Now Luka loving Dirk too. So I love there's that moment at Eurobasket, which Luka's playing in now, where Dirk was there and Luka runs up behind Dirk and gives him a bit, like, surprises him and gives him a big hug. And he's clearly like just very happy to see him. Gives a hug to his wife and his kid and everything. That makes my heart.
Did they know each other at all before he came to the Mavs?
Nope.
They're total strangers.
Not
right?
at all. Yep.
Yeah.
They came and apparently Luka came and they were playing like a pre-training camp, like kind of get together, like pickup game with all the guys on the team. And he was saying that he I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said he was like talking a lot of shit to Luka, like trying to rattle him, and he was just like smiling real big, and he could tell like he was like, oh, this kid's like, he's unrattleable.
Yeah. It's crazy how we keep getting these phenomenal players on the Mavericks from totally random places. Yeah.
It blows my mind. Maxi Kleba is from Wurzburg, the same tiny town that Dirk is from.
I don't know who that is.
That's so weird. Maxi, he's a dude on the team.
He's on the Mavs?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's a German, but he's from, I mean, I don't know how big Wurzburg is, but I don't think it's very big.
Yeah, like, what are the odds?
It's insane that we got two guys.
Yeah.
From that little town.
It's also so crazy. Like, it says how awesome Dirk and Luka and these guys are because, you know, Texas isn't known to be like welcoming of others all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you mean?
And so it's like, for our like local hero to be this big tall German dude who's, you know, it's just so much fun.
It is.
You know, but yeah, like, I can't imagine him telling people that, like, I'm going to move to Texas. And they're like, the fuck? What are you talking about?
We're going to move to Texas. Yeah, Dallas, Texas.
Dallas,
from
Texas.
Wurzburg. Yeah, and he didn't speak much English.
That's
I remember.
Right, man. That seems so long ago.
Hung out with Steve Nash all the time. So he was like his boy. He was like I didn't know who else to hang out with.
Dude, Steve Nash is the one that's like, I think that's why I love that Mavs team so much and wish they didn't break up, is because I miss the sports days of like, this guy went to this team and he stayed there forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's rare.
Yeah. And it's like, you wish LeBron would have stayed in Cleveland, stuck it out, and just made it work. And it's like, you just want, I don't know, you want that icon of your town.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? Like, if I say Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, you're immediately going to say three players, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Immediately.
Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and Alvin Harper.
Yeah, that's it.
I just watched him catch a touchdown on Instagram today, so he's fresh on the mind. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, it's like, whether, I mean, that's why Jason Witten's amazing. It's like, he never got that Super Bowl, but he's a fucking cowboy.
And he was so tough.
Dude.
You remember when he played with that broken rib / punctured lung? I remember watching.
And didn't
that
he have
game.
literally he had like a bruised spleen or something at one point?
So.
Yeah.
And but I remember at that game he made a catch and got hit like right on the rib / lung,
the broken part,
and just hopped up. I was like, how are you not crumpled in a pile like crying right now?
And there's because
I hear a broken rib is like the most painful thing anyway.
Yeah, just breathing, because it
just
expands.
Breathing hurts.
Yeah,
right.
And he's breathing as hard as possible.
He's breathing and taking helmets.
Yeah. Do you remember that clip of him where the helmet came off and he's fuck it, and just keeps going?
Yeah, against the Eagles, I think.
Yeah, he definitely seems, I don't know where he's from. Is he from Texas?
He's from Tennessee.
Tennessee. Well, that might, yeah. But he definitely seems like that stereotype of that tough as nail, good old country boy. Like, he was just throwing hay bales his whole life.
Even the way he ran, looked like,
Yeah. Oh, man. If I would love to be that type of athlete where he's so clutch. Like, if you just needed 6 yards, he's your guy every time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if there's 4 people. He's just like, get the fuck out of the way. Let me catch this. Yeah, but that's what it means. Like, you grow that relationship because they were there that whole time.
Yeah.
And now I feel like there's no loyalty anymore.
Yeah,
I miss it. It's almost, I mean, that's what the whole, that's what basketball was about, right?
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good movie.
Great movie.
Squeak. If you guys rip on me like that, like 13 or 14 more times, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here, man. Like I said, we have a 2-year-old now, and like just you and me talking about movies, I'm already trying to gauge what he's going to think is so fucking stupid and what's going to hold up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
sure.
I want him to watch the entire catalog of South Park. I feel like you have to be raised on that. And I know he's just going to watch it and be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a good possibility. But I don't know. I have hope I think I generally liked most of the comedy that my dad like went out of his way to show me. Like it was a big deal for him to show me Animal House. Really liked Animal House, of course. And
how old were you when you were watching Animal House? When you were like young?
I was probably pretty little. The first time I was probably pretty little.
See, I didn't watch it till I was older. And so it just looks really cheesy when you're older.
Yeah.
You know? And
I think when you're a kid, you're like more open to, because John Belushi, he's such a character, and he's always doing silly stuff that.
Like when I'm watching it, I'm like, I get why this is so funny, but it doesn't make me laugh that hard.
And they're also like all those old comedies have sex crimes in them, or also almost sex crimes, if not.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I remember seeing Revenge of the Nerds and like the bounce house part where he's like, be like, I don't know if that was okay. Like even the first time I saw it, be like, I don't know if that's okay to do.
Yeah. Well, and like how many of those old movies was it like, you know, you're going to like drill a hole in the wall and look at all the women naked.
Porky's.
Yeah.
That was the cover of Porky's.
Yeah. And
was
it's like,
them spying.
They're just boys, you know.
They're just kids.
It's funny.
Spying on underage girls.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
But it was okay because the mean gym teacher grabbed the guy's dick, and then that was
that was the equalizer.
That was his comeuppance. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He fucked around and found out.
So that was you and your dad's thing, was the comedy movies?
A lot of he had some comedies that he was really into. Slapshot too. Oh, I love. Have you ever seen Slapshot?
Yeah, it's been a long time though.
So good. Yeah, and that was one that it looked so 70s that I would have never watched it. I don't think without him being like, this is really funny. Because it's just the way it's shot, like, and I think it's partly too that it's in a small like Midwestern town during winter, so it's all dreary looking anyway. But it is a very 70s looking movie.
Yeah,
and but so funny, so like Paul Newman at his best because he's he's kind of charming still, but he's like a hilarious dirtbag.
Is that where comedy kind of started for you? Was movies, TV?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I remember, my dad played some Rodney Carrington songs for me. I remember as a little kid.
Yeah.
And I remember, mostly movies, but yeah, there was like occasional stand-up that we were into. I remember.
Do you remember the first time you heard or saw stand-up?
I do. I was just talking about it actually. I was 18. I was at Willie Nelson's 4th of July picnic.
Oh wow!
It was at the Stockyards that year. I had just graduated high school, and they had the lineup was insane. Like it was like, but mostly musicians. But Larry the Cable Guy and Ron White were there too.
Wow!
And Larry the Cable Guy, I remember I really enjoyed at the time. He did a bit. I forget what it was about, but it was like farting on a treadmill next to a hot girl or something. It was like something really dumb like that.
Definitely sounds like Larry the Cable Guy.
I remember losing it. Like it was like this guy, and then Ron White. I love Ron White to this day. I think Ron White is just so good and so funny. And so I think those two were the first actual stand up I ever saw. And then the next time I saw stand up live was in college or right after college. It was when Conan O'Brien had his whole Tonight Show thing, and he was on the legally prohibited from being funny on TV tour, and it came to SMU, and so I didn't go to SMU. I went to Irving, but I got tickets and went.
Holy shit! You got to see Conan do stand up live.
Yes. Oh, and hey, nice tie-in here. Dirk pulled the Walker Texas Ranger lever. That's how well Conan knows like what'll get the people cheering, and it's like he kept pulling it, and then he was like, "We got a special guest to pull it," and Dirk came out and literally pulled the lever, and then they watched the clip and it was a great celebrity appearance.
Man. Oh my god!
But Dion Cole was the stand up on that tour, I remember, and he was really funny.
With Conan?
With Conan.
Okay.
He was a writer for him on, I guess, The Tonight Show. And so he did stand-up. Reggie Watts did his thing, which it's kind of stand-up, kind of music. But I remember Dion Cole was really like, because he did the stand-up, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And that was closer to me actually trying it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you weren't actually performing yet, were you?
No, not yet.
So when did you make the leap? What was the defining moment?
It's very cliche, but it was after a big breakup.
Really?
It was after a big breakup.
Okay.
Yeah, me and my college girlfriend had broken up, and I was like, I really just didn't know what to do with myself. I was working as a freelance writer at the time, so I just worked from home. So I was just like home all the time, and I had a friend of a friend who became a friend. He did stand up at Backdoor. And in the when it was in the hotel,
the
DoubleTree, the DoubleTree,
yeah.
And so like just having the knowledge of there's a place where you can go do stand up in my head, like it was like, all right, I gotta try that. And then I kind of sat on it for a while, and then I was feeling, I truly felt like I didn't know what to do with myself, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna try stand up, now's a good time, I figure.
So had you been thinking about it before you guys broke up?
Yeah, I had always thought I kind of wanted to be a writer, and I didn't really know what specifically.
Is that what you were going to school for?
Yeah, I was an English major,
yeah.
But we didn't have at UD. We didn't have like a journalism school. I might have tried that, but it wouldn't. I got kicked out anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Okay,
I didn't go to class enough. I don't have a good story behind that. I don't want any listeners to be like, "What's the story there?" I just didn't go to class. They were like, "You never go to class. You should probably
just stop
matriculating here. Please stop." Yeah. So I knew I wanted to write, and I had started writing in college. I had started writing like funny little things on like Facebook and stuff like that, and I had like a Blogspot blog that I tried to write funny stuff on a lot. And so it was a combination of the breakup, and then also me having written all this stuff, getting really frustrated with like, I need more feedback. Like I feel like no one's seeing it. I feel like I'm sending this stuff off into the ether, and like some of my friends are reading it, but
yeah, there is no way to get feedback at that point.
Yeah, with stand-up so attractive in that way. Like you go and you find out, learn about what you wrote, like right then, you know what I mean? And that's great. If you've been, chucking stuff out into the darkness for a long time, like, it feels good to get instant feedback on everything.
Yeah.
I went and did the open mic at Backdoor. That was my first one. It was the year the Mavs won the championship. Actually, it was earlier that year. It was April.
Wow.
And
so that's a huge year for you for a lot of reasons.
Yeah,
that's
ended up being. It was a very big year. Yeah, I did it, and I did okay. I had friends there, of course, like you do, and then quickly, like they're all like, "We're not going to go to any more open mics ever again." So you gotta enjoy that while you can.
I really love watching open mics. And my wife, she came with me to one. She came with me to the Hyenas one on a Wednesday night. And because I was like, come on, you got to see it, because she knows I love comedy and she loves it too, but she's more like, just let me
see good things.
Yeah, she's like, let me know when there's somebody you like, and then we'll go together. I'm like, all right. Whereas I like seeing behind it, you'll see someone work on something and get better, and then when you finally see them nail it, you're like, oh, they got it. This is hilarious now. But it's not for everyone,
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty bad.
You're seeing sausage get made.
Oh, I can only imagine you inviting your friends.
Some of the sausages are pretty close to being done, but some of the sausages, they're still hacking up animal parts.
How many people did you talk into coming out to watch your first stand-up?
See, I had like a good, healthy like friend group I hung out with a fair amount at the time. So it was a decent amount. I don't remember the first time. I remember the first time I did like a weekend spot. Like it was like a bunch of people. But I think the first time probably it was still more people than I could probably get to a show now.
And you wanted to invite them to your first ever open mic, like you were excited about it?
Well, it was like I had like been talking with my friends about it a lot too. Mm-hmm. They had so they were kind of like in on it, and they were very encouraging of me all the time to try it. They had a few of them were in a band together. So, and I think that actually helped too, was to see them go and,
and perform,
be vulnerable and have to stand on stage and do their shit.
Yeah. The when they came to that show, your first one, were they like, were they laughing at all? Were they giving you the friend laughs?
I think they did a good job of mostly being honest.
Yeah,
I think they did a good job of mostly being honest, because it wasn't a kill for sure.
Yeah.
It was like but it was like okay, it was like I don't even remember like what jokes I did. Like I do remember I had written a thing that was like really, like it was really long about like this, how they say like some women experience superhuman strength, and I was like describing a case where a woman like was picking was lifting a car like off her baby, and I was like, I was reading this story, and I was like, when mothers experience, and then I would do this long thing, and then at the end be like, well, she didn't have that, she was killed. I remember I had written that like to be read the first time, but I was like, I might be able to use this.
Yeah.
But it was all, you're just like, you don't even know what you're like.
You don't know who you are on stage yet.
You have no idea. Yeah. You have no idea. Like your ear isn't as good. Mm-hmm. Like you develop your ear over the years, so you can know like some stuff is just like.
I've finally gotten to where I can kind of spot it now, where, I don't have like a great gauge or anything, but as someone who watches comedy, but now I've really been watching it more intently, probably over the last 4 years, where I've really dove in on kind of our local scene, and I feel like that's where I'm at in terms of like, if I were to have started comedy at that point, just as someone who's watching it now, like I'm in that, okay, I've been an open micer now for about 3 years. Like, I'm kind of, and so I can kind of pick up on like, okay, this person usually does this type of room. You can see their flow and how they're going, and you can tell if they're having a rough night because they've never done a club show before, maybe, or they've only been on bar shows, or maybe this is the first bar show they've done. They've only been on open mics, and it's really fun though to see someone learn all of that. And then when they finally dial it in, you're like, damn,
there's so much to learn all the time.
Oh my God. And that's why I wish you could get more people going to open mics to see that process. Because then when you when you go to like a weekend club show and you see a polished, 3 or 4 people do polished sets.
Yeah.
And you have this greater appreciation of like how hard it was to put all this together.
Yeah. That's like a very different thing.
Yeah. I feel like it made me love comedy even more. Because then when you see somebody kill, you're like, damn. That was like really, really good.
Yeah.
But I'm still not done with it.
Generally it's like, it's a lot of work. Like it's gone into that shit. There's been so many.
Well, and with almost zero feedback, like speaking of feedback, like your friends on that first show, when it was done, were they like, that was great? Like, or
they were like, I remember they were encouraging, but I don't remember, it wasn't like they lifted me on their shoulders or anything like that.
And that's the side you don't see, is it's like you go through so much disappointment. I don't know how the majority of comics ever write anything good, because it's so much failure before they get there. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
It's like how do you even stay motivated?
Yeah. It's key, because it's like the only thing where you have to. I've heard people describe it as like, if you were a musician, like the audience is the instrument, right? Which means to practice that instrument, like you have to suck in front of people for like a long time. It's like the only. Yeah. It's the only thing where your suckiness being in front of people is necessary. You know what I mean? Like every other art form you can work in the dark. But with comedy, if you don't have people to disappoint, you're not developing. I
didn't even think about it that way. That's a whole nother horrifying level.
It's wild.
Yeah,
it's wild. It's
because that's what I haven't figured out yet is I know that people read a room and kind of change what they're doing up there, but I'm still watching and kind of observing to see how people adjust, because I still don't understand how you get up on stage and you're reading that room to know how tight or loose they are, how you're going to kind of shuffle your set around. The closest I've gotten to really understanding it is I got to help Ryan Perrio record some of his sets.
Oh, cool.
So I got to see him do like 4 sets over a weekend.
Nice. I just did a show with him this weekend, actually.
Yeah, so then you probably know he adjusts quite a bit.
Yeah.
He's got this big bag of material, but he really chooses when he's going to pull stuff out. And it was really fun watching that go down of like, I wonder why he chose that bit, this time. But yeah, he's a fun dude to watch.
Definitely. Yeah, and he keeps good notes. Like he has all of his stuff on hand, and he can kind of just move it around like that. It's
we were recording
impressive.
some of
It takes work to do that.
I saw his little notepad and how it's like. Other people had talked to me about Ryan before because he's been in the comedy scene around here for a long time, and they were talking about just his work ethic of how much he goes out, performs, writes, all that. And that was the first time I really saw him kind of get in the zone. Because usually if I've ever seen him anywhere, it's just like, hey, how are you? But when I saw him working, and you're like, oh shit, dude!
And he'll
hits
work
another
on,
gear,
and he, he works on stuff at open mics too. So it's like it's a different, it's like a different set if you see him on the weekend. Yeah, with all of his best shit.
Well, and you're working with Hyenas fairly frequently now, right?
Fairly frequently, yeah.
I
think I have a 325 show coming up next month.
Those are great, by the way. Do you like doing those?
They're a lot of fun. Oh, I love them. Yeah, I love it.
How much time? Because you're usually doing like a feature slot right now, right? If you're on a weekend, how much time is that usually? Like 15?
25, 30.
Oh, it is 25, 30. Okay. Yeah. So this is another. I was thinking they were shorter than that. You're just so good. It seems short, No,
I appreciate it. Time flies by.
Yeah. Did you start? Was Backdoor like the original place you were kind of starting at?
Yes, I just went there. Goes back to me being hard to move, get in my ways. But yeah, I just went up there for a long time, and then you just made friends and then start hearing about the other ones. And then not long after that, I started doing Hyenas on Wednesday night in Dallas, and then learned about Dallas Comedy House which was Tuesdays at the time. So I had a nice little routine going for the early years of mics.
At Backdoor, so I've heard from so many comics how much they hated that room at the DoubleTree.
It could be brutal,
but I loved that location. I mean, the new location's great.
I liked it just to see people. I liked it just to see all the fancy people in town for
That's
whatever,
a good point. Yeah.
It was always fun.
And for people who don't know, the DoubleTree Hotel, the comedy club was in the hotel. So you'd literally walk in and you were kind of confused because you're in the lobby of this nice hotel and you're like, I heard there was comedy here.
Yeah. If you turn your head.
And then you turn to the right and there's a little tiny comedy club to the right of the bar that looks like it's a janitor's closet. Yeah. And then it opens up into this room that's not particularly fancy or anything, and
it's very bare bones.
But I loved watching shows there. It felt like this little secret you knew about when you watched the show.
It was
kind
of fun.
It was really fun, and the new location's great.
And free cookies too.
I never got a free cookie there. What are you talking about?
You could go up to the desk and they would give you a free
son of a bitch,
chocolate chip cookie.
Oh man, it
was a great deal.
I'm really upset I missed that.
And they, I remember. Do you know the band Mickey and the Motor Cars?
Nuh-uh. I don't think so.
I remember doing a show at that Backdoor, and they were in town. I guess they were staying at that hotel. But they're a band I kind of liked. But the guy is he's part of a family that they have another band called Reckless Kelly, who I was really into back in the day.
Yeah.
But so I kind of introduced myself and I was like, oh shit, this is like Mickey and the Motor Cars. And we watched the Rangers lose a World Series game together in that bar.
Right at the bar?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great memory.
In the middle of the game, were you like, hold on, I got to go do 7 minutes real quick?
No, I actually had gone up early, so I was really happy because I got to just post up.
Oh, that's so cool.
Or happy at first, and then they lost.
I think that's the kind of cool vibe that place had, is it felt like, the club was clearly just a part of this other stuff that was happening. But that makes it fun because now you get weird random people coming in all the time, and I mean it can be bad.
The new one is cool too. I will say I really enjoy it there too.
It's the only tight little room.
They have good food at that bar it's connected to.
Yeah,
I like all the people there.
Yeah. Were you performing a lot at Backdoor? Were you getting on the showcases? Or were you doing just open mics there?
At the old location?
Yeah.
At the old location, I mostly only did mics, and then I did one weekend show. And then before long, I stopped going there.
Yeah.
I was like, because I don't know. I guess I wanted to be dirty. It's clean.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you is, were you getting, pearls of wisdom from Linda Stogner about clean comedy and
I was mostly, I've learned I'm mostly clean.
Which I really like Linda, by the way. Like, I'm not dogging her about it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's great.
Best.
Yeah.
Mayor of Dallas alongside Dirk.
Yeah.
Co-mayors of Dallas.
Yeah.
I think I was mostly clean. A lot of my cussing is just like colloquial. Like, I just have a foul mouth.
Yeah.
So if I really wanted to clean it up, like, I can just, it doesn't actually play in the material.
Mm-hmm.
But, I was definitely scared of being dirty at Backdoor for sure.
I've got to talk to her one time for like 45 minutes. Like, her and I were just chatting it up after one of her shows were closed. Like, it was so fun though. Like, at the new location, it's like they got me a beer and we're just sitting in the club with nobody in there, just kind of chatting about stuff. And she is a little intimidating. And like, she's not a mean person at all. Yeah. She's super nice. Yeah. And like if I had to, I could kick her ass. But once you start talking to her, you realize how much knowledge is in there.
Yeah.
And she's a smart lady. She knows her shit about comedy.
She knows her shit. And she's, And she's like a filmmaker too.
Yeah.
Like, she's like a,
I saw one of her
Emmys, I think.
I saw one of her short films. They replayed it on or she might have shared it on Facebook, but it was played on one of the local news stations. It was like a full segment that they interviewed her on because she's got all that great history about how she was adopted by her grandparents, right? I know it's older
not
people,
her just older,
not
people.
Her biological people, but they were the age of grandparents.
Yeah,
and so she did like a short film about that was like animated. And
cool!
And it was incredible. They like played it on the thing, and she's narrating it all.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it's really great. And so I think, and then part of what makes her so intimidating to me is how long she's kept Backdoor running.
Yeah,
and like, it's clearly not a place that's about the profit. You know what I mean? Like, they do it because they love comedy.
Yeah,
they're not like savvy business people that are making millions off this place.
Yeah,
and so it's like, man, you kind of got the pedigree of like, you've got the street cred of like loving comedy, and then you've got the knowledge of it all, and you're also this intelligent, creative type, and it's like it was fun talking to her, but you're also like, don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything stupid.
Yeah, for sure.
I always wonder what it's like when you guys are performing at her club and she's throwing critiques out for you,
Yeah, we've kind of become pals since I've been going to the new Backdoor more often, but it's a lot of fun. And I totally know what you mean. Like, I absolutely, like, I went over my time the other day and I was like, she came outside and I got kind of stuck between two bits, and I was like, I just had to do this other one, and like, I was explaining, and she was like, I was thinking about saying something, but she was like, that's not why I came outside. She's like, I didn't come outside to yell at you or anything, but I was just like, because she just commands that much like respect.
Yeah.
And it's not even like I just don't want to disappoint her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't want her to think that I'm like thumbing my nose at the Times and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Because she's great for.
She's
for
definitely like,
here.
You want her to respect you, so you definitely feel like, don't let her down.
Yeah. And
I don't even know her that well, you know?
Oh, I would feel like such an asshole if she was disappointed in me for any reason. It's like when that video came out of the paparazzi bumping into what's her name, Tom Hanks's wife.
Yeah.
And he was like, get the fuck away. And everyone was like, man, if Tom Hanks yelled at me, I would be so bummed for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like, if I ever really pissed off Linda, like, I would just feel so bad about myself.
Yeah. I want her club to be I just want it to be so much bigger. Not volume, but like,
oh yeah.
To me, that's the thing we have here in DFW that could be like the Comedy Cellar or the Comedy Store, where it's always sold out. You know, where you could go there on a fucking Tuesday or Wednesday, it's sold out. And then as comics are coming in town to do weekend sets or something, maybe they're popping in, and you get this great mix of locals and out-of-towners.
Yeah.
Because it's the perfect size room for that. Like, it won't compete with any clubs
and
or
it already
sales.
It has that a little bit, because people in town they'll go up there because they know they can maybe do a spot, and and it's also it's a good hang now. Like we hang out on the patio and
when it feels
there's karaoke that people.
It feels like what a comedy club should be.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's nothing wrong with Hyenas and Improv, but they have their touch of like this is a giant room. It feels a little not corporate, but you know what I mean. It feels a little more.
I know what you mean.
How would you describe that? It's not bad. It's just a different feel. Whereas when you go into Backdoor, you feel like, I feel like you could impress a date by going like, I know this spot.
Yeah, all right. I feel like Hyenas and Improv are more like a nice national chain store.
Yes.
And Backdoor is like mom and pop owned, kind of.
Definitely. And
or like maybe they're not a national chain, but a local chain.
Right. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think
Improv is definitely a national chain.
Improv's definitely a national chain. Hyenas is...
That's local chain.
That's a local chain.
Yeah.
I think... Yeah, I don't know.
And we say chain, there's 2 Hyenas, right?
There's 2 now. Yeah, there were 3.
Yeah.
In the salad days of 2018.
And I love all. I'm so spoiled here. I want
do
that.
too.
I want that variety. You know what I mean? And I would love to see, somebody huge just dropping in on that stage next to locals. And it's like, it's not about money, man.
Oh, it was great.
A cool spot.
It was great when it was on Hard Knocks. Did you see that?
No.
It was
Backdoor. Oh, that's right.
One
of the players performed,
one of the
right?
Cowboys came and they were.
That's right.
I heard Linda crushed them. I heard she went up right before Terrell Basham, the dude who did stand up.
Yeah.
And she just murdered. I was like, that's great.
Of course, that's what she does.
I want to see video of all the Cowboys defense in stitches.
Yeah. I need to go watch her. Did you watch her Dry Bar special that she put out?
I still haven't, actually.
I know. I've seen her so much. I feel like
I have a list of specials I need to watch that I haven't yet.
When it's like I want to support it, but I also feel like I can just go down the street and watch Linda, but you want to watch it, so
Yeah, you want to support it, and you want to see how it looks and how it sounds and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I got to watch a little bit of when I was watching Ralph's stuff that he's put out, he's popping right now.
Yeah,
and it is so weird to go like, I've seen this guy in clubs, and it's like you almost feel like you've seen a cooler version of what he's put out on TV.
You see where hipsters get it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I was on this way before any of you.
Well, and like, comedy's great on a special, right? But it's so much better live.
Yeah.
And so you're sitting there going like, these people haven't seen Ralph live. They don't really know the good grit that we have.
Man, I'm so happy for Ralph, man.
Dude, there's a couple people that are popping off around here.
Dude.
That's why I'm wondering why you're just sitting in the house watching movies all the time.
Because it's this damn air of mystery.
Yeah, right.
Investing too much into the mystery.
Well, do you have the desire to float out do you want to start going out to other clubs in other states and stuff? Or,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm totally open. I have my dates around here, but I'm absolutely open. I would love to go out. I'd love to hit the road with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to just work out of town. I haven't done too much out of town work, but here and there. Yeah. I think the last time I did an out of town show was maybe Arkansas.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe
is that
Arkansas,
like Looney Bins
the
up there? The Grove? Okay.
No. Oh, yeah. I'm not in Looney Bins yet. I need to send them an email.
Man. You got to do this. What, do you need an audition tape or something?
I need an agent.
I can help you make an audition tape if you need one.
I might come to you.
You
for
should,
that.
because there's no reason you shouldn't be going to these other.
Obviously, and I'm not going to have an agent for, I need to just start speaking in a British accent and be my own agent.
Are you going to be, that's what Donald Trump did. Did you see those?
That's where I got the idea.
Where
it's like, if this guy rode this all the way to the White House, I can certainly get into the loony bin.
Yeah, you may not like the guy, but he
had a good idea
about
and it's being his own publicist.
As much as I don't like the guy, he did win the presidency fair and square.
And I'll point out, too, that that him doing this, that way predates all of his mental incapacity.
Yeah,
before his.
Yeah, they're great clips where
it was when he could still talk.
Yeah, he's answering the phone, pretending to be his own
what was his
secretary?
Name? It was John Sargent or something like that.
I believe his last name was Barron because it was funny that his son was named Barron later on. And that he just kind of had a little obsession with that name.
That guy. Now we've got some distance.
But then part of you're like, well, he gets results. I mean, they may not be the results you want, but he gets results.
They're all awful, but he gets them.
Yeah. So yeah, you need to get a little.
I'll be my own agent. There's so much stuff I need to do. I think a website would help.
I don't even think you need a website right now. I think you just need
like a link tree. That's
all you need, man.
Yeah.
Linktree is website. I mean, it's fine. Like if you start getting
fired up,
if you start getting a crazy, I mean, you should. It's so easy to make all this now.
Yeah.
Linktrees are free.
They are?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
They're totally free.
That's how little I've looked into.
Okay, I'm starting to think you do need an agent. You need somebody to do all this and then just focus on the writing.
Yeah. I need did you remember Rudy's best friend in the movie Rudy?
Mm-mm.
He was like, he would always, he wasn't like his agent or anything, but he always believed in his dream. And so, and then he died in a factory accident, and it made Rudy chase his dream. I need a friend like that to believe in me and then die in an accident. And that will give me the motivation that I need to really.
If anyone would like to volunteer to be that friend, we can make it happen.
If anyone works in a steel mill and is clumsy and would like to be friends.
We have a lot of listeners in the Northeast, and we will relocate you to Dallas just to make this happen. Right. Yeah.
I can go to Pittsburgh if need be. They do a lot of steel there.
Yeah.
If what I remember about Mad Men is correct. That was where they. Oh, and football. That's the other place. That's Pittsburgh.
Oh, man.
Steel country.
Yeah, this is all sorting out pretty well.
This is gonna happen.
I like the idea of you going to Pittsburgh, which is known as a wonderful comedy town, right?
Is it?
I don't know. I've never heard of a comedy club. I'm sure there is something there.
There are some towns that are like that, like you hear about, that are just so random, and they're like, oh, Santa Fe has a great scene, and you're like, I would have never guessed, but awesome. Like that's really good to hear.
I feel like you know enough people in this scene, you could just start hopping on shows other places, couldn't you?
Yeah, I need to.
You gotta get
see.
On this, man. You don't want to impose.
I don't put myself out there. Yeah, I don't want to impose. Yeah, I have a big don't impose kind of.
Well, I can tell you. I can tell already that you'll think you're being an asshole by asking.
Yeah, it's partly that.
Yeah,
which is another thing. Like you just have to get over. But
yeah, I bet as long as you've been doing it locally and as funny as you are, that there'd be tons of people who'd be like, yeah, I just didn't want to ask you to come with me. Like they would think that they would think they'd be the asshole.
They're
by
too
being
intimidated to ask.
Well, maybe, you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
No, I get it. And sure, yeah, I bet that's been true. And I don't. Maybe I should just read. That's what I'll do before I start with being my own agent and the accent. I just need to watch Jerry Maguire and read maybe is there a book like All Agent? Is there a Judy Carter's comedy Bible equivalent?
Listen, we've already sorted out by now that the only way we're going to get your attention is movie or TV show or sports, right? So we're going to throw the books out. We're not even going to worry about that.
Yeah. I just read a really good book, though. You want a book rack?
Okay. I don't have any books in my house.
You don't?
No. I mean, we have some in the garage in a box now.
That's good.
I felt like I always bought books and got 3/4 of the way through them and never finished.
Yeah, I do that a lot too.
And then I felt like at one point I was looking at myself, I was like, am I the guy who buys books to have books on a bookshelf to look like it's impressive? And then I felt like a giant douche.
You can hide money in there.
Well, you got to have money to hide first.
You can hide guns in there.
That sounds like, first of all, that sounds like I think everybody's Googled like how to make more money or something, right? Like how to side hustles or something, right? And I remember I read one where it was like, when someone sends you like a Venmo or a Cash App or PayPal, they're like, just don't spend it.
Yeah.
And then like a year will go by and you'll have all this money in your Venmo. It's like, oh yeah, just don't spend money. That's the thing.
Also, don't they take a flat percentage out when you send it to your bank account? So it would be more if you let it build up. Or is my math not right?
I think a percentage is a percentage, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Whether it's $100 or $1,000, but yeah, if you do the instant transfer, they take some money out.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's not a lot, but it's like I see your game here.
Yeah.
It's like if I could start a company that just took that like a little bit out of all these. Man, I got to start a banking app Forget all this.
You're like, you heard it here. I'm done
New
with comedy.
dream.
No, what you need to do is start getting on the road and doing comedy shows for bankers, and then just get them to give you tips and start taking their money.
I would love that.
Yeah.
One time I did a show at Fort Worth Hyenas when we were sitting out. It was a really good show. I think it was a 325, and we had a guest spot, so there were like 5 comics. And I remember this guy came out. He was on a date. And he like walked around and he shook all our hands, like put $100 bill in our hands, like a booster in major college football.
Yeah,
walking around the locker room after the game.
Hell yeah!
I remember thinking I was like, it's clear what you're doing here. Like you're like showing what a big boss you are in front of your date, you know. But also, I'll take it every time. I want every comedy fan. You will definitely get laid. If you hand all the comedians on a show $100 bills.
Yeah. Do it in front of your date. Make sure they see it.
Make a big show of it.
Yeah. And like make a speech. Like say something like, I love supporting the arts. And
his whole vibe really was like a big booster. Like it was like a college football booster.
Dude,
like he might
so
as well
awesome.
have been like, great hit, kid.
And back then you were like, I immediately spent this on alcohol.
Yeah, no, weed.
Oh yeah.
No, I was like, but I think I did. I think I literally like drove it to my guys.
Oh my gosh. Did you get sober with everything, or is it just alcohol that you stopped?
Just alcohol, yeah. That was the one. I'm California sober, as they say.
California sober? All right. I'm curious, when you go up on stage, you don't seem like the nervous type, but the more I talk to you, I feel like you are the nervous type.
Do you
get nervous before shows still?
A little bit. Like a little bit. I'll get more nervous if I've never been to the club or...
Because you seem so relaxed up there.
If there's something new that I don't know where it's going to fit in, or if I don't know the rhythm of it quite yet, I might get nervous. But I mostly, before shows, I get extremely tired. I don't know what it's like. I get like sleepy. I yawn a lot. This goes back to like baseball. Like if I was starting a game, I would get like the 10 minutes before the game, I would get wildly tired. I would just be like yawning and like, you know, getting caught in a stare, you know, when that happens when you're so tired, you just look at something and get caught in I was like, yeah. So when you get stressed, you just get a little narcolepsy going on. Yeah, just get really sleepy. Yeah.
That's such a weird, like, do you then, you know, like, does the adrenaline kick back in when you hit the stage?
Yeah, as soon as I forget all about it, like whenever I start the thing, but it's like, I don't know, it's like some kind of response to anticipation, I guess. But it is weird. It's always been that way. Like if there's something big, I'm sleepy.
Yeah. You have one of my favorite traits that not a lot of comics do, which is you get away with being able to tell these longer stories and longer bits without losing the audience. Yeah. Which, like I said,
can be hard.
The little bit of
I do lose them sometimes.
Well, the little bit of my comedy research, it's like, you know, that seems to be one of the struggles that people have early on, is they want to get into these longer things and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
But you're one of those people where you can make the longer things work, and people typically go with you for the ride, right?
Yeah. And a lot of times,
how do you think you pull that off versus other people who can't?
I think it's just, you have to remember like it's going to be punchline, set up punchline, set up punchline, set up punchline, no matter what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing a lot of setup building to a big punchline, you might want to mix in some smaller punchlines in there. Mm-hmm. And that's a lesson. Like I had to learn that, you know, over the year, because when you try to tell a story and you haven't, you know, punched it up, there can be a lot of and then and it's like, really, that everyone will tune out right then as the third or fourth and then.
The one I'm thinking about right now is how well, I mean this in a very positive way, is how well you drag out your Stone Cold impression.
Oh yeah,
it's so.
That's another thing is long. I think it's funny to like stay on the same thing.
Yeah, I don't want to tell it on here
like you're gonna leave it and come back. I really enjoy that.
Like I think everyone should watch you just to watch that go down, because I saw it recently. We were at one of the Hyenas shows that you were on. I can't remember who was there. Were you there with Zoltan or John Stringer.
Yes, Zoltan.
Zoltan, that's the show it was then.
Oh, that guy was awesome.
Yeah, he came on the show, man. That dude is fucking great.
Yeah.
He's
so hilarious,
funny.
so nice.
He's another one where I'm like, are you going to blow up yet? Like, you're so...
And he seems like he's doing really well. Like, I follow him on Instagram, and he's all over the place.
Dude, he's like on that level where I've seen him a couple times in person now. He can just, like... I don't even know how to describe it. He throws out so much material that's like just his... It's not even crowd work. It's just observational of, like, this room, this venue, this place. And it's like he immediately has 15 jokes about it. It's like, Jesus, dude, you're just on rapid fire.
Did you happen to be there, the show? Because he was talking, he did a bit about the show Selling Sunset on Netflix.
Yeah.
Were you there?
And the girl was in the crowd?
Yes. Oh, that show. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah,
That was one of my favorite, like, crowd work moments ever. She was like, she kicked me when I was a kid. She kicked me in the stomach. I was like, what a little kid, like, story that is for someone to have kicked you in the stomach.
I'm glad you remember that, because it's one of those... Like, again, that's the thing about when you go to a comedy show. Like, I can never tell that story and someone else think it's funny.
Anything
but in the moment,
happen.
so fucking funny. Because she doubled back, too. They were like, we went to school together, and she kicked me. And he's like, did she really kick you? And she's like, I don't remember. Like, and she started doubling back a little bit.
Yeah, and she was just like, she just didn't like her. But she's like the villain of the show, so everyone's like, I knew it.
Yeah, I loved how in the middle of his set, he like looks to the back of the room at his wife, and he's like, would you like to go hang out with this girl and see if we can meet so-and-so's family?
That is hilarious. Yep.
And you could tell he was dead on. He's like, I don't care about the show anymore. I would love to just...
I need to learn more about the Selling Sunset.
Dude, I sent him a text whenever we started watching my wife and I are into that show, and we started watching the most recent season, and of course it's like ramped up. And I
haven't watched the most recent one, but I have watched like the first two.
Okay, yeah. So then and it's more of the same drama, and a couple new characters have been added in. And
nice.
Yeah, and so now he's like my go-to of like.
See, I was always like I'm like in the minority, because I always liked what's her name? Not Chriselle, the other one, the one who was mean to Chriselle. I always thought she was funnier.
Chriselle's not the most rude one.
She's the soap opera
star.
Yeah,
you're thinking
the
of
one who was
is
really
it Christine?
rude to Chriselle.
No.
Well, Christine is also always really rude to Chriselle, I think. But
you're talking about the one who's like glammed up all.
Davina's hilarious. She like left the show, I think, for a while, and like they brought her back.
Is she a brunette?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So she's like the little sidekick.
She was the one who said they were all like trying to commiserate with Chriselle about her divorce.
That's
and
right.
She was like, "Well, we don't really know both sides of the story, though." I was like, I love Davina.
Dude, first of all, those two guys, the brothers, they're just geniuses.
Yeah.
Like they were like, let's just get a bunch of hot women that are filled with drama, and then let's put really expensive real estate on TV, and it's like, it's a win. My only complaint is I really do want to see some of this real estate. It's like, can you just show a few more houses each episode?
I got really into that over the lockdown. I got really into HGTV and House Hunters.
Dude, it's incredible.
I loved that stuff. That and Korean baseball. Those are my
Korean baseball
that I picked up.
How did you get into Korean baseball?
It was during the lockdown. It was the only sport that was on for a while.
Oh, shit.
And because they had their outbreak sooner than we had ours, and they had it under control, so they were playing just without fans, and they would show it at the middle of the night, and when there's nothing to do literally all day, I got really into it, and it's a lot of fun too. Like there's they have like songs for every player. Like they have cheerleaders, and they sing, like the whole stadium will like sing. If you come up, you have a song about you, and everyone's singing it, and it's like the teams are real fun. You get like one foreign guy, so you get like an American or Dominican, and I heard it explained that like if your foreign guy ends up being a lemon, like you're pretty much screwed. Like you need that guy to be good. But man, it's so much fun. Their baseball culture is like wildly fun. They flip the shit out of bats, like They have some of the best mascot work in the game.
Yeah, that's like when what was the other basketball league when the NBA it was like before there were 3-point lines and stuff. There was another
ABA.
Yeah, and that was like pretty much all black players, right? It was really before they weren't getting into NBA a whole lot yet, I don't think.
It was like the smaller I don't know the integration story of NBA as well, but I just know it was like smaller markets, and I think ABA like leaned more into the blackness.
Yeah, well, and like the showmanship of it. Yeah,
yeah,
because I think they brought in the 3-point line, and then they were the ones who started making dunks like, okay, this sells tickets. Maybe like I think in the NBA it was like frowned upon. Like dunking was like that's classless.
We're gonna ruin the rim.
Yeah.
Somebody had to pay for that.
Yeah. So I think basketball needs to go through that again. By the way, because let's be real, like Steph Curry has changed the game, right?
Oh yeah.
And now you're watching like high school games where kids are just going back to back half court shots.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. So what do you make the court bigger? What do you do to make it more difficult for someone who's that talented? Like if you're the king of NBA, what would you change?
See, that's the thing. I'm a big fan, but it's the sport I probably know, aside from hockey, that I know least about because I never played it.
Yeah.
Well,
what would you do to dress up baseball then? That's the one you know the most about, right?
I have a joke where I suggest that what we could do is we could get a mean junkyard dog to live in a pen behind every wall of a major league stadium, and then like Sandlot rules. And then when a home run gets hit in there, the outfielder has to jump in and try to outrun the dog. I think that would bring some magic back to the game.
Yeah, and you would really
also employing junkyard dogs, which is good.
Yeah, I
mean,
but
junkyard dogs would probably need wranglers. That's 2 more jobs.
Do you remember
creating
like
jobs
a couple years ago in South Dallas, they were like, we have 700 loose dogs or something.
Oh my God.
Don't you remember that?
A woman, not specifically.
There was a woman who got mauled and was killed by a wild pack of dogs.
Dude,
and then I don't know.
Horrible.
First of all, I don't know how you get the estimate of wild dogs in your town. Like I don't know who's counting. Like do you get in a helicopter or what? But yeah, I want to say it was like 700, like wild. Nobody owns them. They're just breeding.
That is a scary figure.
Yeah, it is.
Can you picture in your head what 700 dogs?
And South Dallas is very populated. That's not like fields over there.
Yeah.
They're just roaming. So
and there are coyotes all over, everywhere north.
Yeah.
That they're developing.
We live in
coyotes live. So
we live in East Dallas. It's full of coyotes.
Oh, really?
Full of coyotes.
North Dallas is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a big thing where like a kid was like attacked on its porch.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
And all the animal control people were like, oh yeah, these people were feeding it, and all the neighbors were like, no, we weren't. And actually, not only were we not feeding it, but we had called you like 3 times about this coyote.
So they really weren't feeding it.
So it became like this.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Maybe somebody was, but the people that were there, other people were like so mad that they suggested that.
Oh, and I'm definitely the guy
because you're feeding it.
I'm over here like Monday quarterback, and I'm like, of course it's going to attack you. They were feeding it. What kind of fucking morons?
Yeah.
I'm the one. I read that
Shouldn't
one
have been
line,
feeding it.
And I was like, well, what do you want them to do, huh? Like,
I was coming home from a show the other night, and I was coming up a side street going home, and there were 3 coyotes just going up front yards, and then I saw them, and I was like, I slowed down, and like it was like that they noticed me watching them and like cut down. I was like, that was,
dude, they're so crafty. And like I said, I grew up
crafty.
I grew up in a small town where they would
Wiley.
Huh? Yeah, north of Wiley.
Yeah. Oh no, I was like,
they're Wiley. Oh,
and then they're because of the.
I grew up north of Wiley, Texas. Sorry. Anyway,
a lot of different things going on.
But anyway, it was one of those towns where you could go out to neighboring towns and there were farms and stuff, and they would like have the coyotes like hanging on the fence post after they like it was like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's so weird to think I moved out of there, you come here, and then you're in, you can see them in Dallas just roaming through, like you said, broad daylight, and they don't give a shit. They're like, I can duck out of here any second I want to. Yeah. But, yeah. We saw a bobcat in our neighborhood sitting on somebody's front porch.
Oh, yeah.
That was more intimidating than the coyote.
Yeah. You'll get, like, in those, like, townhome areas, they seem to like to walk along, like, if you have a cinder block fence in the back, they love to cruise on those because they can see into all the yards.
Yeah,
and it's like they're
look for little dogs back there.
Yeah, look for little animals.
I knew a guy. He when he hired people for his to work at his business, one of the interview questions was, "What is the largest animal you can kill with your bare hands?"
That's a great question.
It was, and I always thought like I could probably take a coyote if I had to. Like I'm gonna get
I
fucked
think I
up.
could.
but
I'm enough. I think I'm big enough that I could.
Yeah, I think I could get most
And
of my
I
weight
would
on
take
them.
some
and,
damage,
yeah,
probably.
like we're going to the ER, but the Bobcat, I was like, no way. I think it's smaller, but I was like, it's gonna get me. It's just too fast.
Bobcats, yeah, they look strong.
They do.
They look really strong.
Did you ever see that video of the guy being backed down a trail by I don't know, I get them mixed up. It was a mountain lion or a cougar or something. But he was like on a jogging trail, running or something. And then, boom, it's on the trail. And he's just trying to back up. And it's like a 6-minute video.
Oh, and he keeps
backing up the whole way. And the cat's just kind of like
stalking
calmly
him.
walking towards him. And then he does a couple little like fast paw moves real quick at him one time. And he's probably like 10, 15 feet away the entire thing, but it's the scariest video.
Yeah, I would be pretty scared.
Yeah. Anyway, this turned into like a weird show, but
Animals,
yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, dude, I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you so much for coming on here.
I appreciate it, man.
All I want you to take from this is that you should be getting to more clubs and doing this more full time.
Will do.
And I will help you with that if I can.
I really appreciate that, man, and thank you for having me on.
And
I hope it wasn't too weird and meandering.
That's
I did
every
meander
show.
a lot.
I mean,
but there are animals about.
People need to know.
Are we not going to talk about the coyotes?
What is the place that you will actually post things about your comedy stuff? Because you do it so rarely. And you need to post
Instagram is the one I'm best at posting on.
And it's
Scott's Crisps 38.
38. There
Scott's Crisps 38. There's
Scott's
an
with an
S
S
at the end of each of my names on it. I was watching a lot of Metalocalypse at the time, and if you remember the Nordic guys on that show, they always put S's at the end of words. I was like really into that at the time. So now I have a weird Instagram.
Even though you don't post about your shows ever, which you need to do more of, I do love all your little, I don't even know what you call them, musings. Like,
oh yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, I don't.
The one that I'm thinking of right now is you put like a courtroom guy up there who was like making a gesture with his hand, and it was like, if you don't agree with my defense or something, you must have a tiny dick. Or
it was the end of it was the end scene of A Time to Kill.
Okay.
Actually, another movie that I saw too young because my family rented it for family, and it was like horrendous subject matter. But yeah, it's Jake Brigance, the lawyer. In the end, he makes this big, beautiful speech. Remember that? And about like he has all the people in the jury.
Yeah.
Close your eyes, and like he explains the crime, and he's like, now imagine if that girl was white. And it's like this big like emotional thing. So my meme was just Jake Brigance saying, anyone who thinks my client is guilty has a tiny dick. It's like the opposite, not eloquent at all.
Yeah. I love it, man. Like it's your page is always good for a giggle like that. You just need to put more of your show dates on there so they can go watch your shows now.
I will. I'm gonna do those things that people do where they put all the show dates on one picture.
For sure. Yeah. Do you have anything?
More of those.
This is probably going to come out by the end of this week. Do you have anything coming up in July or August?
I am at. Let me look at my calendar.
Yeah.
But I'm at Dallas Comedy Club. I know this Saturday night. It's a late show.
Okay.
I believe it's at 10:30.
Yeah, I'll probably. It's Monday right now. I don't see any reason I can't get this out by like Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, I think. I think that's my next thing.
Yeah, and if you haven't been to Dallas Comedy Club, that is a great venue.
It is.
They revived Dallas Comedy House, which succumbed to the pandemic, unfortunately. But the new owners, I mean, they're doing a great job. It's definitely an awesome club in Deep Ellum. So that would be a great place to watch Scott Crisp at. Dude, thank you so much. You're welcome back on anytime, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
There it is, another episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Scott Crisp for coming on the show, and thank you to the pauses for letting me